Welcome to MMA Studio 109. The summer holidays are upon us, and this is a quiet week regarding fights and news in the MMA world. This upcoming weekend is one of the few without any UFC fights, and everyone is now looking forward to the McGregor-Diaz fight, what looks to be the biggest UFC card in 2016. There is no news about Ronda Rousey. USADA has no big announcement. And the UFC seems to be functioning well without the Fertitas. John Jones is reportedly training again, helping Alistair Overeem with his camp. And the Rising Federation has signed UFC-released Crew Cup. KSW has signed Rosemar Palhares to fight Michael Mlada. Palhares might be the gateway for European fighters to enter the UFC. The style matchup between Palhares and Mlada is perfect. Now the result will show if Palhares just had a bad day losing to Meek. Mlada is not an easy task for the Brazilian fighter. MMA newcomer Emil Meek came out this week and explained to the fans what caused him to pull out of the Hamburg Card. On his Facebook page and in other media, he said due to summer holidays in Norway, he couldn't get the correct paperwork for his asthma medication and cortisone shots to be approved by the USADA in time for the fight. Worst case scenario for him would be to test positive before the fight. And in cooperation with his manager and the UFC, they agreed to pull him out of the fight. Emil Meek says he wants to fight as soon as things are sorted out, and now calls for the winner of the fight between CM Punk and Mickey Gall. He also told MMA Studio that he is more than ready for one of the top names in the division. The fan favorite Cub Swanson secured a very important win over Kavanagh. The judges scored the fight 3-0 to Swanson. And in the main card, Yair Rodriguez won the 5-round battle with Alex Cacares. Rodriguez continues to look like the star UFC want for its Mexico market, and they're smartly moving up the ranks on the featherweight division in a calculated manner. Joe Gigliotti came to the UFC on a 7-fight winning streak, with each of those victories coming by way of stoppage. That streak come to an end on Saturday when he faced Trevor Smith. The judges scored it 3-0. SGB Ireland head coach John Kavanagh says his reputation as a quality trainer will be on the line when star pupil Conor McGregor collides with Nate Diaz for a second time at UFC 202 later this month. Coaches will often take the brunt of the blame when one of the fighters loses. Kavanagh is no different when it comes to McGregor's second-round submission loss to Diaz at UFC 196 in March. Although the fight came together in a short notice, Kavanagh said more could have been done to get his fighter ready for the fight roughly 5 months ago. Conor McGregor, on the other hand, predicts a second-round TKO. Dan Henderson told MMAfighting.com that he is determined to stop fighting after his title fight against Michael Bisping. Some of the other fighters on the roster have reacted negative to the title fight since Henderson ranked as number 13. Dan Henderson explained that he never asked for the fight, and the idea came from the UFC. Alistair Overeem came out last week and defended the wrestler CM Punk's debut in the UFC. The former wrestler and the UFC have been criticized for letting CM Punk fight in the UFC without any previous fights in MMA. But Alistair Overeem says he likes the idea of people testing themselves. And he also admires a guy who puts himself in a situation where everybody wants to beat him down. Overeem says he will respect CM Punk regardless of losing or winning his upcoming fight. That's all for MMA Studio tonight. Subscribe and we will keep you updated on whatever happens in the magnificent world of MMA.